You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west, see what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too.
On to Mr. Nicholas J. Fuentes. So, trigger warning. I definitely want to hear what you guys say in the comments. Hit that follow button. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this video.
This is where you talk about Jews, women, and blacks. Let's just take a listen.
He's just smirking.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you like to clarify what you meant there?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yeah. Yes.
But all of them?
No, for the most part.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So maybe let's say that 5%.
See, and the first part of that clip where he's like, oh, most of them. Okay, Nick has this way of talking that when I watch him, I wait for the clarification, because when he says for the most part, that sounds like more than 50%. And we know more than 50% of black folks do not commit crimes. It's really easy to get triggered. But if you listen to that part right there where he's like, any percentage that commit violent crimes or any percentage that commit crimes, who's not for that? We're all for people who commit crimes, go to jail. Period. I don't care if you're black, if you're white, I don't care if you're Asian, doesn't matter, purple, orange, yellow.
So you're talking about black people who murder people?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't say that. You just said
problem.
Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
Yeah, like it's not common sense. That's why he's laughing like that. He's laughing because it's common sense. When like no one believes, at least I didn't believe when watching that, like, hey, Nick is racist or Nick is talking about all black folks. I mean, he said himself he's racist, which we will get into later, but
I think, yeah, I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
Do you think a black American would find it funny? You think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
I found it funny.
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time.
I wouldn't say I'm his biggest fan. I wouldn't even consider myself a fan, but I would say that some of the things that he talks about are necessary to hear from a crude perspective, because we've gone into this place in the United States, at least. I don't know about the rest of the world. Well, I can say that there's some places in the world, especially where I've traveled to, third world countries, where they don't have this kind of dialogue. But in America, we have this idea that because we voice certain things that are going on, and because it might be a harsh truth, we're now being racist, or you're being homophobic, or you're being disrespectful, or you're hurting the people you're talking about. No, you're not. The only people who are being hurt are the people who are ignored from the situation that is being caused by these individuals who are doing shit that is not okay, like criminals. It's just that simple. Like, why are we not focusing on what's important?
They say, Nick Fuentes, I love your show. They agree with me. And you want to know why? Here's the difference. Black people are the most victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood and the ghetto and get shot all the time? That's what happens in the south side of Chicago.
Even who come out of the hood choose to be like, yeah, nah, I'm getting up out of here. It's just, it is what it is. That's a fact. It's a fact. And us as the black community should want to do better.
You should come here. I'll take you there. We could go to Garfield Park.
My son went to Chicago University for a year, actually, several years ago.
That's not the same, Pierce.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago and Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west. See what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too. And maybe not most of them, but a lot of them agree with what I say about that because they know how it is. That's why the first thing they do when they make a little bit of money is they go and leave to another neighborhood.
I would even say most black people agree with him. They just won't say it because you'll have other black folks who come out, or the majority of black folks, or not even the majority. Let me put it like this. You'll have a loud minority on the internet come out and slander them and say, oh, you're Uncle Tom, you're whitewashed, you've sold out, all this other shit. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, look at the quarter sleeve thing, right? You have this quarter sleeve, quarter zip actually thing coming out where you have black men wearing quarter zips, right? Sweaters. And you have people coming on saying, "Oh, why are you acting white? Why are you wearing this white shit?" Like, what? Excuse me? So I'm sorry. So now wanting to build yourself up, wanting to have good credit and wanting to dress respectfully is white? Like, do you remember anything that happened in the 60s? Have you seen any pictures of, how the Black Panthers dressed? MLK. Look at how he dressed. Look at how Malcolm X dressed. Look at how Fred Hampton dressed. Even Frank Lucas, who was a criminal back then, still dressed very dapper. So what are we talking about? A part of what I think is the mainstream has co-opted what it means to be black. And if you're not sagging your pants, listening to rap music, smoking weed, you're not black, which is fucking crazy to me. It's like, bro, we can be intelligent people. I mean, we are some of the most intelligent people on the planet. You have a lot of inventions that have come out of the black community. And again, I will say this, million and one times. Why have we not built another Tulsa? Are we gonna blame that on the white people too?
Okay, so what was just remind me again, the percentage of black men who commit murder in America. What was the percentage you gave me?
It's 1 in 20. 1 in 20.
It's 1 in 100.
Both numbers are horrible, regardless.
Less than 1 in 100 black US men commit murder. That's the most up-to-date crime statistics in America.
That's not true. I've seen other statistics. They say 1 in 20 will eventually commit a murder.
So your rate means that you're saying that 5 times as many black men commit murder as the official crime statistics say.
What does it matter?
There's a report, I believe, on X by Data Hazard. I'll have to go and double check that for you. But yes, there's some pretty shocking evidence that says that it's far more alarming than you would think.
Okay, but you would accept that the official crime statistics are 1 in 100, or you wouldn't accept that statistic?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but I've seen other evidence. Like I said, Data Hazard on X, I believe, produced a report about a year ago. It said 1 in 20. But I mean, whether it's 1 in 20 or 1 in 100, that's a lot of people, Piers. I mean,
sure,
a
lot of white people commit murder too. Well, they do, don't they?
Okay, but it's about proportionality. I mean, white people are 65% of the population. Blacks are 13%. And I think anybody would tell you that more black people proportionally commit violent crime than white people. And people vote with their feet. People would rather pay a much higher property tax.
Most mass shootings.
What's with the interruptions?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, you look at in Chicago, in New York, these neighborhoods are so stratified. People would rather pay a high tax rate. They'd rather pay a much higher property value to live in a less diverse, less black neighborhood because they don't want to live around the violence. And I think that when you look at even on the public transit, the subway, the blue line, you know, people don't want to go there because they know who occupies and menaces the public transit. It is these people like Daniel Penny had to deal with. It's people like Irina Zarutska had to deal with. And that's just the uncomfortable reality.
You've also said you don't want to live near black people. Let's take.
See, before it jumps into that clip, what does it matter if it's 1 in 20 or 1 in 100? It's a lot. It happens. And immediately it's, oh, well, white people commit murder too. We know, but we're talking about black people right now. He's talking about black people. You may not like it. Definitely don't like hearing that stat. I don't know how accurate it is, but 1 in 20? Let's go as high as 1 in 200 commit murder. That's still too high. Why? Why are we killing each other? Why is no one asking the question, where's Black Lives Matter when it comes to all this?
I'm a new generation of white person. I'm not living around blacks. Sorry. You know, I want white kids, and I don't want my white kids bringing home black people to marry. It's racial for me. And call me racist. Oh, very Christian of you. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, it couldn't be clearer, really. Unless you want to say that's another of your jokes, but you're basically saying, yeah, I'm a racist, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You're fine with saying you're a racist?
Totally. I think everybody's racist. I think everybody, if we're being honest, is racist. I think everybody, the only people that aren't racist or pretend not to be are white people to their detriment. Everybody else is racist.
But earlier in the interview, you got aggrieved at the idea that your father was a racist. You wanted to make emphatically
because
sure
my father's.
He's not.
Because my father doesn't share my same views on that.
So he's the exception to everyone's a racist.
Well, everybody's a little bit racist. You're right. So maybe everybody. The difference is you're attacking my father. You know, he could get fired from his job.
I'm not attacking your father.
You are.
No, I'm not. I don't know your father. And to be clear, I have no knowledge about him at all.
Well, then let's leave him out of it. Let's leave him out of it if you don't know him.
Hang on, Nick. You
See, and he knows he hit a chord here, so he's gonna keep poking at the father thing. I don't really care about that. To immediately associate somebody as a racist because of how they think about a subject, to me is wild. To me, racism is not liking somebody because of the color of their skin. Nick, to me at least, has not said he doesn't like black people because they are black. Also, the fact that he says, "Oh, I don't want my kids bringing a black kid home." So it's not just white people, it's not just Nick who believe in, hey, don't bring X person home because we don't want that kind of person. My own mom would rather me be with a Dominican woman because we are Dominican versus a white woman. It is what it is. Regardless, even in Somalia, you have certain groups of people who dislike other groups of people. That's just a fact of life. That happens.
put that story into the public domain on your show. I'm simply reminding you of what you told everybody, millions of people, about your father. If you now want to retract it, fine. If you want to say it was a joke, which is what your position was earlier, fine. But I'm allowed to put to you things you've said publicly. That's not unfair. That's not me targeting your father. You put that story about him out there.
You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
I'm asking you about a pretty shocking anecdote, which to me looked like you were saying your father made decisions about where you as a family would eat based on skin color of people who worked at these places. If you say, or use them, if you say that is not what you meant, that's fine. You can respond any way you like. But the idea I can't ask you about it without you saying I'm attacking your father is ridiculous.
Well, you are, and you know what you're doing. And there's a political culture in America where if you have the wrong views, you get fired from your job. And my father has a job. And if you go on here and say, you charge him with racism or something, and I'm put in a position where I don't look like I'm sticking to my guns if I don't say my father's a racist, you're putting him in jeopardy, and he's not here to defend himself or explain his views. And it's very low, and I think you know exactly what you're doing, and people can see what you're doing. I'll defend my views, and I think that, so let's leave him out of it. Let's just not talk about my father because my father isn't here. I'm here.
Okay, well,
I'll
then do you
defend
accept
my
that you
views,
shouldn't
and I'll
talk?
defend the anecdote.
Listen, that's fine. But then do you accept you shouldn't talk about your father on your show?
Yeah, the gotcha question.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So it's fine for you to put a story out there which would make most people who listened to that story or watched it at the time on your show conclude that he was racist. It's fine for you to do that. But if I then ask you about it, I'm the one who's being unfair and I've crossed a line. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're being malicious.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Listen, people are watching this live. They can draw their own conclusions about whether what I just did.
And they will.
Yeah, and I'm sure afterwards, by the way,
the comment section is crazy on this video.
With your own words.
Whoa.
With their own words.
That's a little presumptuous. I'm not going to say it's an ambush, but I think that's a low blow. And I think you know what you're doing, and that's fine. You're a tabloid journalist. I expected that. I don't think it's an ambush because I knew it would be like this. And people will see what you're doing, and I think they'll say it's low. But as far as you want to talk about racism,
I do.
Let's talk about racism. Let's leave my dad out of it.
Look, you've admitted you're a racist, correct?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Own it.
Okay, that's fine. You're perfectly entitled in a free democratic society to stare down the barrel of his camera and tell me you're a racist. People can judge you accordingly. Many people...
Pierce thinks he's doing something here because he got him to say that. But that, again, that's just... To me, that doesn't mean anything. Even when he says about the Applebee's stuff, it's like, I get it. I hear what you're saying. Black folks are loud. Who wants to go to a black restaurant? I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I wouldn't say that bothers me. But if that bothers you, why is that a bad thing? How does that hurt me as a black man to say that you don't enjoy environments where there are a lot of black people? How does that hurt me? How does that bother me? Who cares? Like, I genuinely don't care about that. It's not that he's not going to restaurants because of the color of their skin. It's because of the actions that happen in the environments where they are in.
Many people who have assumed that you're racist will now have heard it from your own lips. That's fine.
There you go.
That's the point. The point of this interview is to go over the things you've said, which have led people to reach conclusions about you, and to ascertain whether those conclusions are fair and reasonable or not. That's it. So I want to play you another clip. This is what you talk about why white people are justified in being racist. Let's take a listen to this.
First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
You stand by that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So white people should go out of their way to avoid black people when they see them.
Absolutely. They would be wise.
Why?
Because it's a lose-lose proposition. If you're Irina Zarutska and you don't walk the other way, you get stabbed to death and you die. If you're somebody else and you walk on the subway and you stand near a black person or something, maybe it's fine. It's a lose-lose proposition. So no, I think that white people have been beaten into submission, that we're afraid to tell the truth about it. And the truth is that when you go into these major cities like New York or Chicago, I believe she was in North Carolina, there is a menace, which is young, black, adolescent men. They're extremely violent. And we have been told that we have to pretend like they are every other person. We have to be colorblind to that. And we're supposed to go and be in the midst of all this danger. And I think that at this point, it's gotten out of control. You look at the BLM movement, they said that the reason that black people, are violent, or the reason there's crime, is because of police brutality, or redlining, or all these other things. They said we need to get rid of the police. We need to defund them. And a lot of cities did. A lot of cities like Chicago, for example, the police changed the rules of engagement. They don't chase them. It's not a felony if you steal a certain amount of merchandise. They won't chase them on foot. And now the city's totally up for grabs. And now, whether you're in the Gold Coast or whether you're on the Mag Mile or you're in the worst neighborhoods in the city, you might get shot, you might get mugged, someone might run up on you. And I tell my followers, it is better to be perceived as racist or racist and walk the other way and maybe keep your life than to say, I'm a good anti-racist. I don't mind that this person's making me uncomfortable. Maybe he's looking a little froggy. I'm going to sit down because I'm a good person, and get stabbed, mugged, whatever. And by the way, this is a strategy. They call it the friendly stranger. There's a crew of them. They do this in Chicago. They stand outside bars, black people. They approach strangers. It's a robbery crew. And they pretend to be a friendly stranger, and then they mug them. And stupid white people say, oh, hi, yeah, nice to meet you. They grin, they laugh, they put up with the nonsense, and then they get mugged, or worse.
Yeah, see, I don't know if that's true, the friendly stranger thing, but I think, I have a little bit of a different opinion on this entire subject, and I think that part of the reason that he can feel that way and other white people may feel that way, I don't know if they do or don't, I haven't heard a lot of them say this, but if they do, they can feel that way because they've seen enough black people hurt white people. And that's the problem. Also, the secondary problem to that would be the fact that we don't call it out. In our community, we don't call that shit out. When you see somebody doing some dumb shit, or when somebody does some dumb shit, it's always, oh, well, free JoJo, free Lil Momo, free what? No, the shot the block. What do you mean free him? No, lock his ass up and throw him under the jail. That's what the fuck should happen. And, it's sad that he voices this idea and this perspective because I genuinely don't think that he dislikes black people for the color of their skin. This message is for my black folks. We need to be better at policing our own people, because the longer we refuse to police our own people, the longer this excuse can be used. And not only that, this guy's not radical. I don't think he's radical. But what comes behind him, if things continue, is going to be 20 times worse. And it's only going to get worse until we hold our own folks accountable for the dumb that they do, period.